Which of the following
shifting of the
occurs
country's
as investment becomes more responsive to changes in the interest rate?
So in this question, we're asked to identify which of the following results as a country's production possibilities
result
curve
of interest
will
rates
shift to the
becoming
right. And we're asked to
investments
highlight
becoming
what
more
this will
responsive to
cause.
changes in the interest
So
rate.
let's draw this out on the production possibilities
choice
curve.
A says monetary
usually
policy
the
becomes more
y-axis
effective
represents
at
capital
changing
goods,
real
which
gross
will
domestic
represent
product.
as
So this seems to be the correct answer,
and
because
the
monetary
x-axis
policy
represents
refers to
consumer
actions
goods,
by the central
which will
bank,
write as
like
CONS.
one of the four
And
tools.
let's represent
So
the
these
original
could
curve
be
as
changing
this,
the discount rate,
and the
the
shift
interest
curve
on
as
reserves,
this.
or real
So
required
it's
reserves,
from this we
or
can see that there are
doing
greater
some sort of
production
open
of
market
all
operations,
goods, capital and consumer
and because
goods.
interest rates are
And
more
one
responsive
thing
to
to note
investment,
is that
if
the
one of
production
these
possibilities
actions
curve,
reduces
or
interest
the
rates,
PPC,
then investments will increase by a
is
greater
also
amount,
related
and because
to
investments
the longer
increase,
average
the
aggregate supply
aggregate
curve.
demand curve will shift to the right. This results in greater real
And this
gross
curve
domestic
is
product.
on the
So overall, A seems to
aggregate
be the
demand
correct
versus
answer.
short-run aggregate supply model.
B.
Where
Fiscal
the
policy
x-axis
becomes more
represents
effective
real GDP,
at changing real
and the
gross
y-axis
domestic
represents
product.
price level.
This is
So
incorrect,
because
because fiscal
the
policy
production possibilities curve
refers to
shifted
government
up here,
actions,
the long-run
and
aggregate
these
supply
actions
curve will also
are
shift
like
up
government
here.
spending
So
or
originally
taxing,
it'll be up here,
and this is
but then
incorrect
it'll
because
shift to the
government
right
actions don't influence
this
interest
way.
rates. So because they don't influence interest
And
rates,
that will
they don't
in turn
become more
cause
effective
each
at
of these
changing
curves
real
to
gross
shift
domestic
as well.
product.
So we
They
can
still
draw
have the same
simple
effectiveness.
sketches of that as
So
well.
B is incorrect. C. Monetary policy
this
becomes
is
more
the short
effective
run
at changing
aggregate curve.
changing interest rates.
And
This is incorrect because the question highlighted how investments become more responsive to changes in
option choice
interest
A
rates.
says net exports
Never said
to
anything
decline.
about how interest
This
rates
is
are
incorrect
more
because if the
changing
country
or
produces
sensitive
more goods,
so
it's
because
more
of
likely
that,
that
monetary
they'll
policy
be
is not more
exporting more
effective at
goods,
changing real
and rather
interest rates,
imports would
but at
decline
changing
because
investments.
if they're able to produce
So
more
C
goods,
is
they can
incorrect.
satisfy their own consumer needs.
D.
Rather
Fiscal
than having
policy
to
becomes
import
more
goods to
effective at
satisfy
changing
those
interest
needs.
rates.
This
So
is incorrect
exports would
because
increase,
these
not
are government
decrease.
actions.
So government
A is
actions
incorrect.
don't influence
B.
interest rates.
Inflation to
So D
increase.
is incorrect.
This is incorrect because
E.
this would occur if
There's no
demand
change in the
shifted to the
effectiveness
right
of
or
either
short-run
monetary or
aggregate
fiscal
supply
policy.
shifted to the left.
This is incorrect because
Because
monetary
production
policy
possibilities shift
does
to the right,
become more effective
both
at
changing
changing
demand and
investments,
short-run
which
aggregate
means
supply
that they
shift to
become
the
also
right,
more
because
effective
they
at
both
changing real
shift to the
gross
right.
domestic
The
product.
price level
So
does
there
not
is a
change.
change.
So inflation
and
would
therefore
not
E is
increase.
incorrect. And with that, the correct
C.
answer is
Aggregate
A.
demand curve shift to the left. This is incorrect because this the production possibilities curve shifting to the right influences the long-run aggregate supply curve before it influences aggregate demand curve, and furthermore, the aggregate demand curve will shift to the right, not to the left. D. The long-run aggregate supply curve to shift to the left. This is incorrect because this doesn't make sense. If the country is able to produce more goods, that it would make more sense if the long-run aggregate supply curve, which represents the supply of the country in the long run, would shift to the right, meaning that they'd be able to produce more goods rather than less. So D is incorrect. E. The long-run aggregate supply curve to shift to the right. This is the correct answer because the PPC curve, production possibilities curve, is directly related to the long-run aggregate supply curve, and because the PPC curve has shifted to the right, the long-run aggregate supply curve will also shift to the right. So E is the correct answer.